Hey there, everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave, the host of the Dark Stuff channel here on YouTube, reporting to you from the bunker in Omaha, Nebraska. Folks, going to talk about a concert I saw last night. I saw the band Faster Pussycat. This is a band that I had a history with growing up. I was a fan back in the late 80s, but I honestly hadn't seen or heard anything from Faster Pussycat in a solid 30 years, I would say. The last time I know that I was in the same room as, say, Taime Downe, the lead singer of Faster Pussycat, was in 1990 when Faster Pussycat was opening for Kiss. Those of you who've seen my videos before and know my hair metal history, like when I had actual hair, I did love all of the bands from the 80s hard rock scene. I try not to use the term hair metal because some people get pissed about it, but if it slips out, forgive me, okay? And I saw pretty much every band of that era up to about 88 or 89, and my taste started changing in music. I went to college, and I ended up putting a lot of that stuff in the rearview mirror. So, I mean, I was a pretty early adopter to Faster Pussycat. Here's my copy of their original first album from 87. This is an OG, bought at the time of release. So as I was fading out of a lot of that music, bands that still maintain some of the rawness, like the first LA Guns record, first Guns N' Roses record, that first Faster Pussycat record, like I still kind of held on to them. A lot of these bands on their second record is when they got kind of taken over by industry folks, and they started with the big production and the different look and all of that stuff, and a lot of what I liked about the bands was just gone. These guys, I made it through to the second record because I remember Wake Me When It's Over, and I remember really liking the song Where There's a Whip, There's a Way, and that's the one that had their hit Poison Ivy, and later on they did a cover of Carly Simon's You're So Vain that did pretty well for them. But when I moved on, But seeing as the waiting room is kind of my favorite spot for shows, when I saw that Faster Pussycat was going to be playing there, it immediately piqued my interest. It was like, okay, I haven't seen these guys in decades. I have heard rumors that over the years they had radically transformed their sound and look and style and everything, and they were doing industrial music and all of this, and Taime Downe adopted this sort of borderline Marilyn Manson look or something. And that was just very unappealing to me. So I heard now that stuff they shook all that shit out, and now they're just a straight up rock and roll band again. And so I was definitely interested in seeing what was going on. The guys on this particular record from 1987, only lead singer Taime Downe is still there. And that kind of made me leery, but I did a video about 2 years ago where I asked the question, like, how many members of a classic band have to be there for you to consider it the real band? And I didn't really come to a final conclusion, but when bands like Soul Asylum are out there with just Dave Pirner, Black Flag is out there with just Greg Ginn, and some other bands, it's sort of like you have to shake loose that shit of like it has to be the original guys. I mean, I feel like as long as they keep up the spirit, that's the most important thing, I would say. I mean, the current lineup of the band is Taime Downe as the lead singer, bass player named Danny Nordahl, Chad Stewart, Kieran Robinson, and their guitar player is this guy Sam Bam Colton, and he was not there, actually. He is He had a fill-in guy last night. It was actually his first time ever playing with the band. First time playing with the band, he was rock solid. So I got to the club, and I knew Faster Pussycat was going to go on at 10, but I thought there were only 2 openers. Turns out there were 4 openers. 4 openers. That's obscene. That's ridiculous. It's like some old hardcore show from the early 80s. It's like you just don't put that many bands on a bill. So I missed the first 2 bands, so I have nothing to report on them. The third band was called Ratchet Dolls. They were from Texas. They were pretty young. They were doing the kind of mid-80s hard rock metal sound. They did originals and some covers. They did Bark at the Moon. They did Detroit Rock City, among others. It was okay. Next up was a guy called Johnny Nasty Boots, and he is apparently known in LA, and he's from Mexico City originally. I looked him up, and it started off pretty cool, but I have to say the guy kind of overstayed his welcome, and I don't know if that was a universal feeling, but like I thought Faster Pussycat was going to go on at 10, and these guys went on at about 9:20. So they do a tight 25, 30 minutes, and then it's like, bam, then you can just get to Faster Pussycat at 10. Well, that's not what happened. As it was getting like 5 minutes to 10, he's like, all right, let's do this other song. And it was like with long guitar solos and drum solos and stuff. And it was just like, I don't know, in any other context, maybe I would have been into it. But right now, I was kind of like, dude, this is the 4th band, and we're waiting to see the headliner, and like, wrap it up. Okay, I don't like being rude like that. I never would have said anything, but in my mind and to my friends that I was sitting with, it was like fucking TikTok, like, let's go. I had no real expectation anymore because I knew it wasn't going to be the same guys. I knew they weren't doing the dolled up glammy 1989 look or whatever. They're not doing that stuff. They came across much more like maybe like the Super Suckers or something, and oddly enough they did do a Super Suckers cover later in the set. They do the song Pretty Fucked Up, which is a great tune from the album that has maybe the greatest album title of all time. It's Motherfuckers Be Trippin'. Started a pinch late, but it's okay. Faster Pussycat definitely brought the rock. They were really, really good. I mean, better than I expected for sure, better than I remember. They played all the songs you'd think that they would play. Don't Change That Song, Where There's a Whip, There's a Way. Their cover of You're So Vain was great. They do House of Pain, Bathroom Wall, Babylon. Pretty much anything that was Don't Change That Song they played. So all the songs that I remembered. And then there might have been a handful, 2 or 3, that I didn't really recognize. A friend of mine asked if they did this Johnny Thunders cover, and I honestly don't know because I didn't recognize it. But the Super Suckers cover was cool. I was very surprised by that. But like I said, I think the band, that's kind of their closest comparison at this point. Itself, I don't know, I'd estimate about 150 to 200 people, somewhere in that range. I didn't actually count or anything, but they were very enthusiastic. And sometimes when I go to these kind of shows like legacy bands or older bands, it's nice because I'm not the oldest guy in the room. And when I go to like some of these indie rock shows where the average person in the crowd is about 23 or whatever, I do start to be like, whoa, I'm noticeably a lot older. In this case, no, but it wasn't all us old bald guys from back in the 80s. there were a significant amount of younger people that I was surprised to see. I was surprised to see at the show. It was positive. I mean, I really dug that fact of it too. I guess I'll wrap it up just by saying that, like, wow, this current version of Faster Pussycat, which has been together for a while, all that drama with the industrial shit was like a long time ago, is really tight, and they're fun to see. And if you do like that first album, the first two albums especially, it's not like they're gonna butcher you by saying, hey, we have our new concept album or whatever, and we're gonna play that from start to finish and then maybe do an encore. Like, they're not doing that shit. They're playing the songs you want to hear. Close out with another clip. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
So, you have a MySpace page or something?